Hi, I'm Lillian, welcome back to my channel Ink and Pages. Today I'm going to be doing a silly little tier ranking video because I don't care if they're out of trend or whatever, I really enjoy watching these videos and I still really enjoy making them. So today I'm going to be ranking all of the books I have read because I've seen them recommended on Booktube. And we're going all the way back to the beginning of my Booktube watching years. I started watching it in 2015, I think. So this is like 7 years worth of recommendations that I have acted upon. I've got 41 books / series to talk about. And what I've done is, to the best of my ability, I have assigned them to a booktuber who I believe was the person who recommended them to me in the first place. This is all subjective, obviously, because it's like my own experience of Booktube. And there are books in here that are really popular and that like numerous people I've seen them recommending on Booktube over the years. So what I've done in those cases is try to assign them to the person who I associate most with that book, who I think it was most likely was the person who convinced me to read it in the first place. So let's take a quick look at the tiers. The top one, pretty self-explanatory, all-time favourite. This is a book I read and adored because of Booktube and would now consider a favourite of mine. Next we've got Good Solid Rec, because I couldn't fit the word recommendation in the box. And after that we've got I Would Need to Reread. So this category is for books that I don't super remember that well, but I think I would probably enjoy them upon reread, but I would need to reread them to confirm that. And underneath that we've got I Would Not Like to Reread. So again, books that I don't particularly remember that well, but I don't think I would enjoy them a second time round, so I think I'm good to move on from them now. And then finally our last category is Wish I Never Read It, which is for books I wish I never read. So the first book we are starting off with is The Humans by Matt Haig. This was actually recommended to me by Emma Blackery on YouTube, who is not and has never been a booktuber, but I think I saw her video which was like her top 10 books of 2014, and then I saw that in January 2015. I remember it very distinctly and I was like, wow, it's time for me to start reading these books I see recommended because that sounds really good. So it gets a bit of a special honorary mention because not only was it the first book I read because I saw it recommended on YouTube, but it became an instant all-time favourite. So hats off to The Humans. Yes, I probably need to reread it to confirm that, but I loved it so much it's going straight in that top tier. The next 3 recommendations we have on here came from Poland Bananas Books, which was a channel I was really obsessed with in like the 2015 to 17 era. First of all, we've got Throne of Glass, which, you know what, despite all my misgivings and its numerous faults, I'm gonna have to put it in good solid rec, because I couldn't put it in I'd need to reread because I literally reread quite a lot of the series over the last couple of years and then finally finished it in January this year. And you know what, it's not perfect. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not even my cup of tea, but I would have to say it's a good solid rec. And actually so was the Lunar Chronicles series. So this was the first series I read and finished because of Booktube. I think I read them all within 1 year, all 4 books, and I really loved them. Court Thorns and Roses, again, despite my better judgment, I'm gonna have to put it in good solid rec because I did reread it last year and it was enjoyable. Shoot me, I liked it. The next 4 books were recommended by Witty Novels, who is one of my all-time favourite booktubers. I'm now realising like 3 of the 4 are graphic novels. So we'll start off with Shatter Me, which is a series I only read the first book in the series, I should say. But the whole series is something I really still strongly associate with her because she loved it so much. However, I'd have to say I'm going to put this in I Would Not Like to Reread. I think I actually gave this book like 4 stars when I read it because, bless me, I didn't know any better at the time, but I definitely am ready to cull that from my brain. Like, I don't think about it at all, but I would not like to reread it. But Nimona is an all-time favourite. Really love that graphic novel series, and again would love to reread it at some point this year. Paper Girls, however, I found really disappointing. Everyone was like, oh, it's like Stranger Things but with girls, and I was like, it's way worse. It's way worse. Not good at all. So I might have to put it in Wish I Never Read It. I'm gonna put it there because it was so short, but it was also the start of quite a long series. It just felt like a massive waste of time because I really didn't enjoy it. However, The Prince and the Dressmaker is another quite positive one I did really enjoy. I'm going to put it in good solid rec. because I remember it being really sweet and really enjoyable. I only read it a couple of years ago, but I do barely remember it. Okay, these next set of recommendations come from Thoughts on Tomes, which is again still one of my favourite channels. And it turns out I really enjoy quite a lot of her recommendations. Spoiler alert for what's about to happen. So firstly, Shadow and Bone is again a series I really strongly associate with her channel. So I'm gonna put it in I would need to reread. Because I would actually not like to reread it, but I think I would probably still enjoy it upon reread, because now I've gone on and I've read The Six of Crows. Well, I was about to say I've read the Six of Crows series. I haven't. I've read the first book. Loved it. And Shadow and Bone, I read this one and I think I read half of the sequel, but like pretty quickly realised that I actually wasn't enjoying it that much. But I think I would enjoy it upon reread. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is going straight in good solid rec. What can I say? I really enjoyed it. Also, fun fact about this book, it was one of the first editions I owned that was like a really floppy one. So quite a lot of the times when I needed to take a photo of a book and I needed to lay open properly, I would use this. So it's in quite a lot of my Bookstagram photos. Okay, the Monstrous Graphic Novel series is one I also really strongly associate with this channel for recommending it to me. And it is fucking incredible. Absolute all-time favourite, straight in that top tier. We love to see it. Rat Queens, again, a graphic novel series. I've only read the first 3, but I would like to continue it. So I'm going to put that in good solid rec as well, because they are very enjoyable and I really enjoyed what I read. And the last recommendation from her is The Lies of Locke Lamora, which again is going in good solid rec. Okay, she's come off very well in this ranking. Pretty much everything I've read from her, I enjoyed. And even Shadow and Bone, like I think I would still enjoy that if I read it again. The next set of recommendations came from Perus Project, which I think is probably, I think her channel is the Booktube channel I've been watching the longest consistently. I remember finding it in like 2015, and I think, to be honest, most of the channels I used to watch then, we've now diverged in our reading taste, so I don't really watch them anymore, except hers, except Perus Project. And looking at this now, we've got some strong recommendations. So A Darker Shade of Magic, I think is going straight in all-time favourite. I did read it a long time ago. I read it in 2015, but I actually just recently reread it and it was amazing. So I need to now reread the second book, read the third book for the first time because I've been waiting so long, but I really strongly believe it's gonna remain an all-time favourite for me. Oh, and actually the first season of Harry August, oh my god, loved it so much. Again, read it in 2015 and would actually probably need to reread it, but because I loved it so much with every fibre of my being, and I still actually love it that much, it's going straight in top tier. Absolutely amazing book. I would recommend it to everyone. And then the other V.E. Schwab series, This Savage Song, I'm going to put that in good solid rec because I did really enjoy it, but not as much as The Dark Shade of Magic, obviously. Saga is also going in good solid rec. I think my affections towards this series have slightly waned in the years since I first picked it up, but you know what, it's still good. Like, maybe it's not a 5-star anymore, but it's at least a 3.5 to 4-star, which is still very solid. Six of Crows, that is going straight in that top tier. And the last recommendation from her is A Song of Wraiths and Ruins, which I recently read. I'm going to put that in good solid. It's not an all-time favourite, but it was a very good solid YA fantasy book that I really enjoyed, and I would like to go on and read the sequel at some point. The next 2 recommendations came from Emma Books, and I can tell you right now we have very different reading tastes, because I'm going to put the selection, I think I'm actually going to put them straight both into Wish I Never Read It, because I really strongly disliked both these books. I think the selection is maybe the worst book I see people talking about on Booktube like it's an all-time favourite. I just really hated it. Absolutely not for me. I also think it's objectively bad, but you can enjoy objectively bad things, but I did not enjoy it at all because it was terrible. And A Study in Charlotte, I remember reading this on my year abroad. I think I read the ebook of it, yeah, and I was just like waiting for it to be good, and it never happened. It never happened. I think that's the one I felt most betrayed by as a recommendation. So it's set in the world of Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, where they were real people, and it's about their like great grandkids or something. So there's like a different Holmes and a different Watson, and they meet each other at boarding school and they team up to solve crimes. And it was just really not at all what I was expecting. Well, I was expecting it to be good, first of all, and it wasn't. So that was a huge I felt betrayed by that book suggestion, actually. I like physically felt betrayed by it. But let's move on. So our next 3 recommendations all come from Ariel Bissett. Again, probably one of my all-time favorite booktube channels. These are all graphic novels, I'm realizing. So Through the Woods, I really like Through the Woods. I'm gonna put that straight in good solid rack. Sheets. Oh, what are my thoughts on Sheets? This is a book that I very strongly associate with Ariel Bissett because she always talks about how much she loves it. I liked it, but not that much. So I would need to reread. I think I would need to reread it because I didn't love it as much as she did. I mean, how could I? She really loves it. But I do remember feeling a little bit let down by it because it wasn't great, it was just like fine. So I would need to reread that. Lillian, Who's Breaking Up With Me, that was a good solid rack. That was a good solid rack. Again, I didn't love it, but solid recommendation. Our next 4 recommendations are all romance books from the one and only Chelsea Donning Reads, who again was one of my all-time favourite channels, and I'm waiting for the day that she comes back to Booktube because I still regularly go back and rewatch some of her old videos. And it's funny because we have such different reading tastes. I barely read any romance, but it looks like all of the romance I've read was because of her. But even though we have such different tastes in books, I really love her videos, I really love her channel. I'm waiting for her to come back. So The Kiss Quotient, good solid rack, really like. I think that was the first proper like contemporary romance book I read because of Booktube, and I read it because of her. The Hating Game as well is one of her all-time favourite books, I remember. So I really strongly associate it with her, and again that was really good. I liked it more than The Kiss Quotient. It was really good. And actually I think I got it for Christmas last year. I finally asked for the physical book, or maybe it was the Christmas before last. I don't remember, but I liked it so much that I bought a copy of it. So that is high praise. Red, White and Royal Blue is an all-time favourite. We're putting you, there you are. We're putting you in the top. Loved it. I mean, it's not perfect. I feel like I have to disclaim it. It's not perfect because I can tell, like even I had some problems with it, but I still loved it. 5 stars. However, Get a Life Chloe Brown, I don't wish I never read it, because I feel like I got something very small out of it, but I would definitely not like to reread it. It kind of killed any interest I had in that series, to be honest. So I've only got 2 lots of different book recommendations left. We've got 6 books from each of these booktubers, which is interesting. I didn't realise I had read so many books because of them. So the first one is Meg with Books. There's a lot of like thrillers here, I'm realising. So the guest list, again, is something I particularly associate with her and her channel. I'm going to put that in good solid rack because it was. What more can I say about it? I'm also going to put My Sister the Serial Killer in there as well because it was really good. The Turn of the Key is a bit trickier because I liked the writing of it. It was just the ending that didn't do it for me, so I'm not quite sure where to put it. I think I'll put it in I would need to reread because I feel like, because the destination wasn't what I enjoyed, but the journey was, I feel like rereading it would actually be a more positive experience for me. So I'm going to put that in would need to reread. Death in the Dark Water, I think I'm going to put in all-time favourite. I gave it a 4.5 star, not quite a 5, but it was one of the best books I read last year. And yeah, you know what, screw it, I'm going to put that in all-time favourite because I did really enjoy it. Thursday Murder Club, good, solid. One by One, I loved it almost as much as Seven in the Dark Water, but not quite as much, so that's going to go in that tier as well. And that brings us to our final round of recommendations. These are books that were all recommended by Kayla on her channel Books and Lala, which is one of my all-time favourites again. First of all, we've got Every Heart a Doorway. I'm going to put that in good solid rack because I really liked it, and I think about this series quite a lot actually because I would like to continue reading it. I've only read the first book and I think there's 6 of them out now, and everyone always talks about how great they are, especially people whose opinions on books I really trust, and we tend to have similar tastes, will say they're amazing, so I need to get back on that. Next we've got 3 thrillers all by Riley Sager, all 3 of which I read because of Books and Lala. I'm going to put the first 2 in good solid rack, and then Last Time I Lied I found very disappointing, so I'm going to put in would not like to reread. Yeah, that feels right. Okay, third to last, A Phoenix First Must Burn. Really liked that. really like it. It sort of sparked my interest in anthologies, basically. This book single-handedly made me realise that I really like reading short story collections and I should read more of them. It's all thanks to this one book, which I read thanks to Books and Lala. This Is How You Lose the Time War, again, is going in a good solid rack because it was very good. And actually, so is The Empress of Song of Fortune / the sequel, When the Tide Came Down the Mountain. I'm counting that. The series is represented in this ranking by The Empress of Song of Fortune. Okay, so one quick last look. Is there anything I want to move up and or down? I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, you know what? I am going to move The Devil in the Dark Water down because while I would consider it a favourite, not enough time has passed that it can prove itself an all-time favourite. You know, like it hasn't been long enough that I know for a fact I'll be thinking about it for a long time because it hasn't actually been a long time since I read it yet. But that is the only change I'm going to make. So this is the final version of this tier ranking. I'm very pleased. It shows that most of the books I decided to read because of Booktube I actually do end up enjoying, and there's only a few that I wouldn't. So which recommender came off the best? It looks like I would say Thoughts on Tomes and Perus Project have given me the best recommendations for me. That's what I think this is showing. The rest are kind of a mix, apart from, sorry, Emma Books, whose 2 recommendations I read like are both in the bottom category, but I kind of saw that coming in hindsight. So there you go. That was my tier ranking, all of the books I've read because of Booktube. I hope you found it mildly interesting, at least. Even if you didn't, I had a good time doing it, so it's all good. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.